Hello, everybody. Welcome to Telli Talks, where we talk about life, growth, relationships, and all things in between. I have speaker, coach, and author here, Ali, founder of Principles. Ali Principles on the gram.
Exactly.
Tell everyone how you started your journey and how you got to where you are today.
Telli, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Appreciate you. So, unlike a lot of entrepreneurs, I did the traditional college route. I got 2 degrees in business management and communications. But what I learned quickly in college is I'm not going to learn the things that really help me in life. So I actually joined a business fraternity, which set the foundation for my entrepreneurial career. It taught me things like networking. It taught me things like, throwing events with, no one to depend on but yourself.
Right.
Raising money. So raising capital, connecting the dots, talking to speakers, speaking in front of the public without fear. So all the foundational skills that you need in entrepreneurship. And right after that, I did a corporate America run for 3 years on the dot. So I started and I quit on the same day that I started, 3 years later. And the reason I did that is I got a lot of experience. It was a great job. It was in the healthcare consulting space. So I worked for doctors. And what ended up happening is as I grew, I was the youngest person in the company. But as I grew, what ended up happening is I felt like I was outgrowing everyone. And then my boss wasn't a man of his word. So I saw him doing empty promises to people and promising raises and this and that. And he kept making money, but he wouldn't take care of his team. So it was very short-lived. So the minute I got very fed up, I quit. And what ended up happening is I jumped into entrepreneurship. I started an agency. Long story short, the agency failed miserably. I got screwed by my business partners because I was young, still learning. So I went back to corporate America for a year. And then from there, I made a vow never to go back. So that second time I started, from there, I haven't looked back. But the company was called Principle. I have it tattooed on me because of the fact that my other boss did not have principles. And then my old partners didn't have principles. And it was based on doing good business with good people, setting the foundation of core values, and then never messing those core values up for anybody, especially yourself.
Absolutely. So what initially made you think that college wouldn't help make you successful and you had to go join a business fraternity?
So traditional immigrant parents, you have to go to college. You're either a doctor, lawyer, or a failure, right? So I had to go to college. I had to complete that whole route because my parents wanted to see me, because my dad never went to college. My mom never went to college, or at least American college. They went to, overseas work version of college, but it wasn't a traditional university. So when I got here, when I got to college, they're like, hey, you have to go through this. And I'm like, but these are the things I'm learning, like Texas history, United States history, like random stuff. Like where do I learn how to do taxes?
Right.
Where do I learn
Write a
about
check.
insurance?
Yeah.
Where do I learn about running a business? My marketing professor teaching me marketing, but he's not in the spot that I want to be. Yes, he makes $90,000 a year as a professor, but he's never run a multi-million-dollar marketing business. And I was already entrepreneurial because from 18, I did a clothing line. Obviously, the first 3-4 ventures always fail, but I was always entrepreneurial. The first taste of success I had was, besides the business fraternity, was I helped my uncle write a software. I wrote a software and he made $250K in one day, and he gave me 5%. So it was like $12,500 check as an 18-year-old. I'm like, so I got friends that work for 3 months, 4 months as college students,
right.
And they don't make that. And I made this in a week, and so kind of expanded my mind a little bit. In college, I did the random stuff, like I threw parties and DJ'd and did random stuff like that. I worked 2 jobs, full-time college, vice president of the business fraternity, and DJ'd on the weekend. So I was always like, my time management was really well. But the shift happened when I figured out that they were training you to be employees. They weren't training you to beat the boss and get better than the boss. It was just like, where can you go? And yeah, you can get a good job, 5 figures, 6 figures, 5 figures a month job, 6 figures a year, but you would always be capped. You can put in 100 hours a week, but you'll always be capped.
Absolutely.
And that was the problem. I didn't want to be capped. I want to be like, hey, I want to be rewarded for my work and my work ethic and going above and beyond. And so I knew that. Obviously, I followed through with the college, finished college. I had 2 degrees in 5 years, and then I went to the job. So again, didn't really want to do the corporate job. My dad was very happy. He was like, oh, you're working with, I was like, I'm not a doctor, but I'm telling the doctors what to do, right?
Right.
But again, my work ethic was capped. I would stay, like the nurses matrix schedules. So you work 12-hour days.
12
So I'm over here grinding, and my boss is offering me incentives, everything but the salary. I was like, give me the cash. And he's like, no, you can get a phone. And as a kid, I'm like, cool, this is cool. I got another work phone. You can get a laptop. Cool. 6 months later, I'll get you a car. Cool, I got a car, a company car. So like these incentives are kind of bribing me almost.
Right.
But they weren't the salary. And I never got to the 6-figure mark. I was like right around there. And then the turning point happened is when I helped him write a software. Same thing I did for my uncle. I helped him write an EMR software, electronic medical record. And what ended up happening is he implemented it into his practices. The second year, he made $50 million off my software.
Oh, wow.
I didn't get anything but the salary.
He sold it? He sold the software, or he kept it for
his medical practices. Wow. So it was freestanding emergency rooms and urgent cares. You seen those 24-hour clinics?
Right, yeah.
That. So what ended up happening was he implemented it in each facility. He went from 5 facilities to 11 facilities, and he went from having only 6 to 7 rooms available to 10 rooms available, because the other 3 in each facility used to be full of files. So now you can take the files out because everything's digital, and now he has patients going through there. He tripled the volume. So he went from a $14 million business to $49 million business.
So when you went to college, was it for software development?
It was for business, but I had always a tech background because I was like a super nerd. Like there's a story of my dad bringing a computer home when I was 8, and he's like, hey, when I get home from work, I'm gonna show you how to work this thing. And then by the time he came back, I already took it apart, put it back together, downloaded everything, and I was ready to go. And he was just all right, never mind, I don't need to teach you. You can teach me.
Yeah.
So long story short, I always had that tech background, and we'll talk about that and how it, implements into my current career, lately. But always had that knack for just using tech to make our life easier. So when I made his life easier, and I saw him making all this money, and he moved to Dubai and got 3 more cars and 4 more facilities, I'm like, yo, get me to 6 figures.
Right.
Like, what happened? Like, you talked, and you promised me. And he just kept. And so on the 3-year mark, I was very pissed. My ego hit, and I quit. F you. I sent the email to the whole company. And I was like, I'm on my own. I'd rather do this on my own than.
Yeah, and when you already, did something successful for your uncle and did something successful for your boss, how are you, in that mental state of you're not getting, I guess, appreciated and valued for the work that you were putting in for what you did?
I'm all about like mentorship and team building. So in my head, when I first got on, I thought of him as a mentor. And then I was like, yo, and then as time progressed, I'm like, yes, mentorship's very important. Lead with value, respect. He's way older than me, this and that. In Middle Eastern culture, you call everybody sir and stuff, But I'm like, these guys are not too much smarter than me. They have a head start, and they're 40, 50. They got a head start, but I can do this. Right. But why aren't they treating me? Why aren't they seeing? Are they just milking me of my skill sets? Absolutely. Why aren't they taking care of me? So that's what kind of pissed me off. I'm like, I want to build a massive team. I want people that are all bosses that are working together. Yes, you got the $10,000 suit and the $50,000 watch. Why don't you show everybody how to do that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Why don't you show your whole team so your whole team can go, instead of you just at the top of the pinnacle and then everyone else is kind of starving.
Where it's almost like, don't give me the fish, teach me how to fish.
Correct. That was very important to me. I didn't see that from him. So that's why I left. And I did have ups and downs with starting the business and kind of falling victim to being scammed and all that, but that was part of the journey.
Right. Absolutely. So when you left the company and you started your other companies, what was your, I guess, your pivotal moment in your journey to where you're like, okay, this is working, this is what I'm doing, this is where it's at?
I figured out, based on my business fraternity, based on speaking to all these doctors, I got really good at speaking. So that came natural to me. It didn't seem like work. So I'm able to get on 10, 15 Zoom calls a day, and I don't even bat an eye. So I started going to the doctors that I worked with. I had a network of like 50, 60 doctors. I'm like, hey, I left the company. They're like, oh no, what happened? This and that. And I was like, hey, look, nothing against Dr. XYZ. I'm leaving. I'm just going to do my own thing, but I would love to work with you. And like, what do you do? I'm like, same thing I did for them. I do marketing. I do operations. I can help you streamline. We can get virtual assistants. And then some people are like, I have my other practices. Yes, let's get started. So I started offering like a $2,000 small package. Next thing you know, like 5 doctors signed up with me. So I was like, all right, cool. I got an income, the same income I was making over here. I can make actually more doing, I wouldn't say less work, but similar work. And and I just ran with it. And then from there, I got a business partner. I got a, first employee, second employee, and I just scaled myself as a freelancer. Next thing you know, I have 10 people on my team.
And how long did it take you to transition to that level?
I would say 2 years, because the first year I did that, I left the company that I started, went back to corporate America for a year. I got another job similar to what I had for a year, saved up, and then I quit again. And then it took me 6 months. After that 6-month mark, I started writing a book, and it's called Create Your Frequency. And the book was about using your mind, body, and business and spirit to create an impact. And then from the marketing company, I learned like value ladders and ClickFunnels and all the software, and how to shoot content. We had a little $400 camera that we made. We got to 100,000 followers on the $400 camera. You know what I'm saying? Well, not 100,000. It was like 50,000 followers. But we got to our first 6 figures with the little $400 camera. And my old business partner, he was just shooting me, and we're just following around. And then I got a speaking tour.
That's amazing.
So that was cool. And pretty much what I wasn't able to do at this other company, I was just trying it out. I was like, I want to speak. I want to teach kids. So I went on a college speaking tour for the book. Mm-hmm. And then I wanted to, use that to get into speaking on stages at conferences. So I did like 7 or 8 conferences, and I talked about marketing and branding and virtual assistants and stuff that I was good at. But again, we were still figuring things out. Like
so how are the college, like when you went on a college tour to talk about like how to create everything that within yourself, using pretty much your mind, body, and soul, how did the college students react to that?
That's when I first got my fan base. So people loved it, just because they can relate to me. I wasn't some 40, 50-year-old that was already a billionaire.
Right.
I was just making 6 figures. I just left college a few years ago, so I was very relatable. And then I was cool too. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, I was one of them still.
Right.
3 years before, I was in their seat. I was looking up to speakers, taking notes and shaking their hands and stuff. And then I did the whole marketing thing. So I had a camera following me around, and I'm like, hey, today we're going to Vegas. Today we're going to Chicago. Let's go to Miami. Let's go to Dallas. Let's go, So it was a lifestyle brand that we created. And it was a book that was very easy to understand. It wasn't like a finance book. It wasn't, it wasn't one of the complicated, business
It was like a
books.
step-by-step.
It was a comprehensive guide, 150 pages. I even put, here are my top 20 books. I'm taking all these best information from these top 20 books that I've read at that time. I'm putting into an easy to follow guide. It's up to you. And then the hook is what got people. My intro was, I'll kind of say it to you. So you ever watched a sci-fi movie where the characters say, hey, don't touch, they're in the future, and they're like, don't touch anything, because if you change one thing, it messes up the entire space-time continuum.
Right.
So I took that concept and I was like, hey, you understand that that's you right now, and you can make one small edit in life that can change the whole future. And people are like, mind blown.
Right.
Yeah, and they're like, that's true. I'm like, what is the habit for you? The habit for me was starting to reading books, quit drinking alcohol, hang out with the right people. Those are the 3 steps that I took to go from 5 figures to 6 figures to 7 figures and hitting a revenue of 8 figures. Just those 3 steps. And it wasn't necessarily adding shit to my plate. It was taking out 3.
Right.
So the kids could relate. It's like, hey, do I have a drinking problem? Well, maybe. Do I run around and waste time?
Especially in college, yeah.
Right. Do I procrastinate? Do I hang out with the wrong crew that doesn't wake me up to go to the gym? Stuff like that.
Right.
So the kids really loved it. And then next thing you know, I have 20 kids messaging me. It's like, hey, I want to be coached by you. I was like, oh, coaching. How does that work?
And that wasn't even in your mind to do.
No, not at all. And then next thing you know, I charged $500, and then you went to $2,000, and like, it was cool. So it was just.
So was the coaching like a one-time coaching situation, or like a?
It was a call a week for 3 months.
Okay.
Call a week, and I gave them. I created the Create Your Frequency coaching model, and it was like assessing where you are right now, where do you want to go, and then we did called design intervention. Let's create a design to get there and reverse engineer it. So it's like, all right, let's do the SWOT analysis. Let's do what your strengths and weaknesses are. Let's do, how much money you're making right now. Then
is this for everyone? This is just for business, whatever aspect, dynamic.
The business coaching came later.
Okay.
The business coaching came after I launched my own course called the VA Formula. I taught people, again, team building, speaking. I taught people how to implement virtual assistants into their into their businesses. So virtual businesses save money. They hire team members, so it's not a one-man army. And they were able to scale. So that business coaching came a little bit, and I paired it with my services. So I did marketing services, branding, websites, graphics, content, funnels, VSLs, like the entire shebang, right? But that paired with, hey, I'll teach you how to implement 2 or 3 employees to remove yourself from the business, so now you have more time. And then we'll market you, and then the VAs will run your marketing for you.
And do you help them find like the employees, the right people? So everything is like a full service.
It was a done for you service. Absolutely. We had 2 packages. So there was a course and a done for you model. We call it the enterprise model. So I actually built out like 6 other businesses on the enterprise model. We charge like $20K, but we identify what your needs are, which roles to automate, hiring, onboarding, training, automating.
So like with that $20K model that does everything for you, do you, I guess, like what's the ROI on that? Like how quick do you get your initial money back?
So we vetted we vetted the clients. So you have to already be generating X amount of money. Mm-hmm. And it's like, hey, how much time is going in? What's your CPA, your cost per acquisition? How much are you spending on marketing? What's your ticket price? And a lot of times people didn't know that entire spectrum. Right. Like have you heard of ClickFunnels, right? The value ladder. Right. So they didn't know what part of the value ladder they're in. Like, hey, we have one product. So next thing you know, I'm like consulting them. And so what ends up happening is we don't even offer this anymore. The VA formula is done. We don't offer it. In 60 days we did really well. And then 1 year I did the one-on-one trainings, right? But now I use that system when we're building the businesses. And as of last year, we switched from the agency model to the partnership model. Mm-hmm. And now I'm not offering the agency services. I'm only doing what I'm good at if I'm a partner with you. So that's kind of what shifted.
Got it. So it's like you're helping the business grow, but you're a part of that business
Correct.
As well.
And we take a bigger piece. We're not taking 5 to 10K a month.
Right, because you're doing all the work, which
Correct.
Makes sense.
Correct. Exactly.
So you guys do that for any type of businesses, or is it just
very specific niche? Very specific. Usually info products, but lately, like why we're here, we're doing it for a very, very badass company called Lux Capital, and they're pretty much they're taking real life assets like real estate and tokenizing them, putting them on the blockchain. So we're doing the entire marketing spectrum. We're raising capital for them. We're branding, personal branding all the team members. So we're doing what we're good at, but very niche. I'll give you another example. We have a client that's in Forex. He's really good at trading, but we're helping him build an ecosystem of students, course, one-on-ones, live tradings, products, his own bot and stuff like that. So those are the types of clients we do.
So how do you guys come up with like the niche of clients that you guys do work with? It's
usually referrals. So I wanna see what businesses I want to be a part of.
Right.
I want to be a part of Forex. Forex is $1 trillion+ industry. And now if I have my money working for me, put a bot in place, my 10 grand a month can make 2 grand a month. Why would I not do that? And so I'm like, let me get my foot in there. Let me help them out with what I know. And in turn, I'll get this stream of income for myself. Give me another one, ATMs. We have a portfolio of ATMs because we help someone scale his ATM business. So stuff like that.
Oh, that's amazing. So is there some type of like, I guess, form that they would have to fill out to be, able to work with you and get the marketing and all the tools that you guys have for your company?
We have an entire onboarding process. So there's like a vetting process, like 30 questions we ask. And again, a lot of times one of the mistakes I made was I jumped the gun and I was like too excited to work with somebody just because I wanted to lead with value. But now I'm coming back. It's like, hey, do you meet these requirements? Is it a good fit for both of us? Right. Not just good fit for you. Right. It has to be a good fit for us and my team.
Right. And so then you want to do the work too because you're interested in the company.
Right.
And what they're doing.
100%. Because I had a big team when I had the agency. Now my team is very condensed because we only have specific clients we work with. And me and my girlfriend are running all of it. So it's like very specific niches, I
love that you guys work together. It's so much fun to work with your spouse. And
Absolutely.
then, obviously different opinions and you get your perspective and her perspective, and I just feel like when you do business with someone that you care for, it just makes it so much better.
100%. And we got the common goal, so there's no we don't have to convince each other of the goal. Everyone's clear on the goal.
Absolutely.
So it's like, how do we get to that goal?
Absolutely.
And then whatever my strengths are, she can cover the weaknesses and vice versa.
Absolutely. That's the best part, so exactly. I think that I have a business with my spouse too, and it just makes things so much more easier because what I'm not strong at, you're strong at, and what you're not strong at, I'm strong at. So it just makes it, and that's the person you trust. So
correct. And whatever we're not good at, we learn together.
Absolutely. I love that. So from your you being an author, what made you want to write a book and come up with the like guidelines of everything that you would want people to know so they can grow as well too?
Great question. So I'm big on principles, not just for my business partners, but for myself. I try to live my life with a code, and there's a code for everything, how I take care of my family, how I want to appear as a father, as a husband, as a son, as a brother, as a leader, how I want to treat my body. And a lot of it comes with, like, as I said, I quit drinking. I've been sober for 4 years. So
congratulations.
Thank you. It wasn't like I had an alcohol problem, but it was like the discipline. What do I want more?
Right.
The short-term pleasure or that long-term, satisfaction that I did it. So the author thing came from, I read so many books. I'm an avid reader. So I try to read like 1 to 2 books a week. And it's been like that for like 5 years. So I was like, hey, I read all these books. Let me write one on the flip side, get my message out there. And that was my first one. And I was young and I didn't really have a lot of business knowledge. But now in like 2-3 years, I'm gonna write another one with the last 10 years of work, Right. So I just wanted to leave a legacy where when I'm gone, they can see my thought process.
That's there. Yeah, absolutely. How long did it take you to write that book?
It was 1 year of notes. No, let me say that again. It was 5 years of notes, 1 year of thinking about compiling them in order, and 6 months of writing it. So it took like 5.5 years, 6.5 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty lengthy.
Yeah, it's not that long. It's like 130 pages.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, but I was like very particular about how it was like it takes you on like a story. It talks about mind, then body, then spirit, and then business. And it says this is step 1. Before you get to business, before you get to $1 million a month, which everyone wants the money, right? You got to fix the internal stuff.
Oh, 110%.
And then once you fix the internal stuff in your brain, then you got to translate that into your body. I'll give you an example. If you want to make $1 million a month and you're sitting there every Monday through Friday, you're grinding, but then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're screwing up what you just built, you're going to be spinning in circles, right? Because money is currency. They say currency. What is the root word of currency? Current. Money is a current. So you don't got to make money. The money is already made. You got to figure out how to attract the money. How do you attract the money? By taking care of your body. You take care of your body. In order to do that, you got to take care of your mind. If you don't have a good mindset, you won't be able to take care of your body because you don't respect your body. So you got to do. It was an order. So when I laid that order out, how I implemented it, people are like, this is so crazy.
It's almost like a guideline, I guess, blueprint of how you structured your mindset to lead into your business.
Correct. And the way we say it, it's like create a life that creates ripples in your mind, body, and business. So it's like you're creating ripples. Like you're doing one thing, and you know how like ripples work, right, in the water. You do one thing, and that spreads. So it starts with like we even talk about listening to the right music, eating the right foods, hanging out with the right people. The law of averages, proximity and power, like stuff like that. So kind of basic concepts, but how does it apply? How does it? And each chapter was like one topic. Yeah, so it was very easy to digest. It wasn't like 500 page.
And where can they find this book? Everywhere.
Amazon, my Instagram link, it's there. It's still Amazon, and I made it very cheap. It's like $5.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's like very cheap. I'm not trying to make money off of that. I'm just trying to spread the message. And as I was inspired by the greats, I want to inspire.
Absolutely. That's amazing. That one, it's affordable. 2, that you're giving people. I feel like when people are successful, they don't want to like spread it because nobody, I feel like, wants to see you doing better than them. And then it comes to a point where it's like, okay, I want you to do good and pat you on the back. But then when it gets to a point where it's better than you, like, for example, you with your old boss, it's like, oh, he's actually smarter than me, or your father, or your uncle. And then you grow into this multifaceted person that does all these amazing things for not just yourself but for other people too, to grow. And I feel like when people are at that point in their life, not a lot of people want to like spread it because they don't want someone else to like surpass them.
I've seen that when you're with the wrong people.
Yes, absolutely.
With the right people, they want you to be good, because if you're good, they'll be
great.
good. Yeah, everyone's great together, right?
Absolutely.
If you have multiple people doing good things, it's like 1 + 1 = 3. One person is cool, another person has their own mindset, but the entity that becomes that third person when y'all link up, and I imagine that across the board with 10 people, 20 people. Imagine a room full of 20 bosses. They can change the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So in your book, does it tell you how you get your mind right, how you get your body right, how you get your soul right? How, like, does it tell you all those things?
I just give scientific facts and what I did. And it's up to you to implement. We talk about like frequencies. We talk about listening to specific music. We talk about education systems. Like, hey, education system's great. I got 2 degrees. It's great. But it's not going to teach you how to get to this level. Right. In order to get to this level, you have to self-educate, And it's a funny thing when people are like, well, I want to get smarter. I ask them, like, what's the last book you read? Because you read a book by anybody. Name your favorite person, right? You got all these business people, Grant Cardone. You read like Mahatma Gandhi, freaking Will Smith.
Right.
They all wrote books. It's their perspective. I want to have 1 or 2 elements of their life. I'm going to implement something that they said from their perspective. Why would I not? I can't talk to Will Smith right off the bat. One day I will, but I can't sit there and call him. So let me just read his book to see his thought process.
Right.
And it's right there in front of us.
Absolutely.
But a lot of people associate reading with shit that they don't want to read about. Because, school teaches you to read about unnecessary stuff. And even a lot of times the things that you read about, in school, you can Google it right now. Mm-hmm. That there's accounting classes. Unless you're going to be accountant, you don't really need that. There's software, there's AI, there's tools, there's people for that. So spend your time on learning how to think. School teaches you what to think. Self-education teaches you how to think. You have to learn how to think. And then when it comes to the VA formula and creating a team, you want to teach people how to think. How would Ali do it? Instead of teaching them exactly what to do. Because when you're not there and you don't tell them what to do, they're going to freak out. They don't know what to do now. Exactly. So you teach them how to solve problems. Even like my creative process. I'll show like, all right, we'll do like working Zooms with the team. All right, creative team, design team, right? Design's a big part. Graphic design's a big part of us. So, all right, pull up Zoom. Everyone's watching. What's up, guys? Leadership, good morning. Do a little breath work. Come on, get everybody in the mood. All right, now from here on out, what are we going to do? All right, let's do some idea mind mapping. Let's go to Pinterest. Let's go to Instagram. Let's go to Google. Let's get some ideas flowing. All right, so like take this logo. I like this design. And so you start putting together a mood board. Once we start putting together a mood board, it's like, hey, I would do this. And I call on someone from the audience. Hey, what would you do? What do you think about this? And now I get their perspective. No, what about this? And I make them think. Again, I'm not like, yo, do this, X, Y, Z. It's creative. You can't really tell creative what to do. You can't really teach creativity like that. They gotta exercise that creative gene that they have. So it's about unlocking that. But you want to give them the tools.
So when you mentioned breath work, and breath work, for the people that don't know breath work, can you explain what breath work is and how it can benefit your Zoom meeting or whatever it is in your life?
In general, not just Zoom meetings.
Yes.
It's funny because a lot of times people come with aggressive sales personality, and I'm like that too. Go get them, But sometimes I'm like, let's calm down. Let's do a breath work. Let's visualize how we want this meeting to go. Let's visualize all of us making $1 billion. But I actually have breath work tattooed on me because it changed my life. So I have the guy meditating right there. See him? Mm-hmm. Right? And I had asthma for 22 years. Mm-hmm. And I did breath work for a year straight, and I got rid of my asthma.
Oh, wow.
And doctors couldn't tell me what happened. They're like, I had like bronchitis and a bunch of different stuff. And it was very hard to breathe a couple of years ago. And there have been times I wake up wheezing, and you can hear me breathing, and it was very tough. And I had to wear an inhaler for so long. But breath work allowed me to come back to myself, and I still practice it. I'm not an expert by any means, but to come back to myself, understand that anxiety comes and goes, and when you're in stressful environments, to come back to the breath. And it taught me to kind of be present. It taught me to slow down because my mind's racing at 10,000 miles per hour. So it taught me to slow down. It also taught me the importance of taking care of your body. Absolutely. And now, actually, in the last few months, I haven't missed a single day. I go to the gym, sauna routine, all that, but I do make sure I do my breath work. And there's different kinds. There's breath work to slow down your heart rate, breath work to sleep, breath work like Wim Hof to get the oxygen flowing. There's breath holds to get that stress level up, and then combine that with work out and cold plunge and all that, like biohacking kind of stuff, and it can change your life. They say sauna, breath work, and cold plunge adds like 10 years to your life.
Oh, wow.
So if there's scientific proof, why do I want to do that, you know? So
So I went to Costa Rica and did ayahuasca.
Me too.
And you went to Costa Rica too?
Last December.
Oh my, I loved it.
Where'd you go, Saltara or?
No, I went to Rhythmia.
Rhythmia, okay.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And we did breath work, and it's almost like a feeling of clarity that I can't really explain the clarity that it gave me, you know, just like not thinking about anything besides breathing and just clearing your mind with all of the stress, all of, you know, what life brings, whatever that may be, and just like focusing on your breathing.
Nice.
And it was amazing. Like I recommend it to
I already
everyone.
paid for December 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
in Costa Rica.
This Costa Rica again. Yes.
I loved it. It was and you went to which one?
It was a smaller one. It was one of my friends. Shout out to Jay. He hosts it for like 10 guys, and they did the entire the full, you know, the ceremony list. Right? They went and we did combo. You heard of combo?
Yeah.
You did combo?
No, I didn't do combo.
So we did
I was
combo.
scared.
Yeah, I was too, but we did it combo. Then we did a Temescal, the sweat lodge. Did y'all do that?
No, we didn't do that.
That one was tough. 3-hour sauna, and you can't get out.
Oh.
Crazy. And then it didn't
make you like lightheaded or anything?
Yeah, it did.
Dehydrated.
I mean, when you're done, you crawl out, and you're you're like grateful for nature, like water and. You know.
And that's one thing that I feel like that's crazy that you said you got a tattoo breathwork. I have like a whole tattoo dedicated to my ayahuasca experience because it was just so eye opening to like, you know, just my life and my past, present, and my future, that I just felt like I saw everything, and that whether it was family, whether it was relationship, business, upbringing, everything in like a week's worth of time.
For sure.
In 4 ayahuascas, and it was just.
Oh, you did 4 cups.
Like
2
back
days,
to back.
2 cups each.
No, I did 4 days straight.
1 cup each. Oh damn.
Yeah, so they did it in like, it was a lot.
Yes.
It was intense.
Yes.
And we did it in like shot glasses, so every 30 minutes.
Same.
Yeah.
We did 2 cups in 2 days. So it was 2 cups, and then the third day I only took 1.
Was it like a whole cup or like a shot glass?
Full shot. It was like a medium shot glass.
Okay. And in one time, in one setting.
One sip.
Oh man.
And then we did another one like 2 hours later, and then we did the next day. I only did 1 because I had my freaking brain exploded.
Yeah.
And it's the fear of the unknown. You don't know. You never did it before, so
exactly.
I was more scared of the fear of the unknown.
Yes.
Than the actual science behind it, because I'm a nerd. So what ended up happening is like 3-4 months before, I read 7 books. I read 1,000 articles, no lie. Every single article I can find, the first 20 pages of Google, I read it. I watched 3 documentaries and hundreds of YouTube videos. So I was ready, prepared for the science part. I knew the chacruna leaf and the vine and how it brewed and how many hours it took and what prayers what Icaros they're singing and all that.
Right.
But I was like, to make sure everyone's good in my family. The whole not being on my laptop and my phone kind of freaked me out. Like being disconnected. Like, I'm good, everyone good. I'm like a little nervous and stuff like that. I was like talking to my girl. I was like, hey, this, you know, a little nervous, you know, whatever. And
you went by yourself.
I went by myself. And I went a year. I was in Costa Rica a year after my father passed. So that was the whole thing. Right. I went and actually did connect with him, which is crazy. But
it's crazy.
3 different cups, 3 completely different experiences.
Oh, same with me. Completely different experiences. Like everything was, and it's nothing related to the previous one at all whatsoever.
Completely different. One was all, you know how humans think, they say humans think 70 to 80,000 thoughts a day. So I was diagnosed when I was like 18 with ADHD, and they say I think 200,000 thoughts a day. So they were giving me medicine to numb me down, and I never took it, long story short. But in that 2-3 hours, I felt 200,000 emotions on the first day.
Oh, wow.
Second day, I felt vibrations. So I can like, I can move my hand and all the ligaments that go to moving this finger, I can feel each one. And then the third day was all, I can see sound. So like the shaman would hit the drum, the ring would come out, bounce off the wall. And it was just like, yeah, it was a mixture of everything. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely amplified. I don't know what you would call it, amplified shroom experience, but it's so spiritual that it's not like people take mushrooms spiritually, recreationally.
Recreationally is different. To learn is different than
very
for fun.
different.
Yeah,
very different. And as long as you go into it with a clear mind and knowing that it's a spiritual experience, I think that whatever you get out of your journey, I recommend it to
Have you found it hard to integrate afterwards? Like remembering everything you learned and all the lessons? Because remember when you're going through, you're like, oh, I get this now, I get this. But when you come back, you're like, shit, it's kind of hard to recall.
So much.
Yeah.
It's like information overload, and it happens so fast that's why I had to journal, because you couldn't remember, because it was so much at one time. Like it literally was like my life in a blink of an eye, and I was just like, how am I going to remember I remember moments of it, but not there's no way I remember everything that happened on all 3 journeys.
Even journaling, I had like almost 40 pages of notes in a week. So I look back and I'm like, what was I going through right there? Like I kind of remember, but like I can't recall it like that. It was a feeling, it was an emotion, and then I remember the shamans were incredible humans. Just learning from them, it was just like,
yeah, like
they had these one-liners. I'm just like, whoa, that's amazing. And then it was an incredible experience. Yeah, I want everyone to try it.
No, 110%. Like we were talking about going once a year and just kind of like decompressing and just enjoying it, and just taking whatever comes with it and just releasing whatever we don't need out, and it's an amazing experience.
Well, that was a big shift when I came back. I'm like, one of the biggest downloads I got was, hey, stop working on shit you're not passionate about.
Yes.
I had clients that were paying good money, but I was not passionate about it. I'll give you an example, like an insurance client.
Yeah.
We can do great work for insurance agents, create, landing pages for everybody, get leads, but I don't really care for it. It doesn't wake me up and hype me up in the morning.
Right.
So stuff like that, and then that's why the beginning of this last year, I started getting rid of those clients. Hey, sorry, no more, I can't work with you, thank you, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And that's shifted a lot. Have you ever done your human design chart?
No.
All right, look that up. It's going to blow your mind.
Okay.
Human design, it's like a combination of astrology, the I Ching from the Chinese philosophy, and science. And they combine it, and they do this thing where you check your birth date, time you were born, all that, and it gives you this chart that literally, crazy story, you'll read it now, and everything it says is on point. You're like, yes, 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 yes. And it describes you to a T.
Oh,
and then it gives you the strategy on how to combat those.
Human chart.
The human design.
Human design chart. Okay.
Right. It was made in like the 50s.
And it gives you strategies to combat the things that you need to.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
it tells you like the path to take and tells you what not to do. And then I went back and I looked and I'm like, I'll give you an example. I'm in marketing. I'm in sales. So I'm always chasing clients. Not just for myself, for other people. Even though clients came to me, I was chasing.
Right.
But now I'm setting it up where I'm bringing the clients to me. I'm not chasing anymore. And in the last 6 months, that has changed because I haven't done any marketing for myself, and the clients just keep coming.
Do you feel like that was from your journey, your ayahuasca journey?
Well, that unlocked this part. That unlocked me really diving deep into this. I had a breathwork coach. I had like a spiritual coach. Because business coaching.
This was after your ayahuasca journey?
After ayahuasca.
Okay.
For integration. So like, how can I make this better? Okay, I made a good amount of money. I have a family. I have my goals, this and that. And what I need to focus on. I need to focus on my health, get my dream body, and then perfect that bulletproof mind where nothing bothers me. Because I feel still sometimes with high stress environments and big family and big team, I'll be getting irritated and this and that. I'm like, yeah, I learned this in ayahuasca, but it's very hard to implement.
Yeah, 110%. I feel like with my journey, my transition, like I'm a big person that stresses. So if everything's not done, especially the way that I want it done, I'm gonna stress about it and I can't go to sleep about it. So I feel like with ayahuasca, it's helped me to like not stress so much on things that are out of my control. So that was one thing that I was like, okay.
Easier in theory than
yes,
done, you know what I'm saying?
110%. That's much easier in theory. And if I, sit and just come one with myself and just like, okay, it's out of your control, and just kind of like give myself, a beat, I'll be fine.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's funny because I'm like a super like fast paced go-getter, like go get it done, moving 10,000 miles per hour. And then Sarah's like the opposite. She's like calm, very present. So like she was telling me like kind of these things, but it's very hard to implement So as soon as the ayahuasca was done, we like sat and we discussed it. Like, yeah, this, and we were figuring out a strategy to kind of, integrate. But it's so interesting, man. They call it the spirit molecule, right? DMT. So how do you explain what ayahuasca is? Like, just a crazy consciousness. Like the biggest thing I got was like I felt like an energy behind me, almost a grandmother energy, and I was very close to my grandma, and she was just telling me like, hey, you got this, and I got you.
Absolutely.
Just handle it. Like, you got this.
Absolutely. My grandma passed as well too, and it's so crazy the things that you get from your journey, and it's so personal and like crafted for yourself because it's your journey and what you take out of that, and just use it as a tool instead of. It's almost like, what is reality after ayahuasca? Because we naturally have dopamine in us already, in our head already, and it's almost like it's just amplifying that feeling or triggering your brain to know more or use more than what it uses on an everyday basis.
Well, they say that there's 2 times where your body releases the DMT, right? When you're born and when you die. Okay? And the crazy thing is that it's already, like you said, it's in your body, but there's receptors that stop it from spreading in your bloodstream. So what the ayahuasca does, the DMT, the receptors are blocked, and so it spreads in your body when you drink it. It's crazy.
It's insane.
So the way I say it now is like, what I'm trying to do differently now, it's not all about money. Of course, I want to make a lot of money. I want to impact a lot of lives. I want to do all the creative stuff that I said to do, because there's random creative stuff that I like. I like designing clothing lines. I like playing chess, drawing, martial arts, like just fun stuff,
Right.
But I'm incorporating spirituality in all of them. So my brand from here on out will be called Ali the Alchemist. So I want to use alchemy, which is turning from nothing into something, turning bronze into gold, to creating an idea into fruition and monetizing off of it. So the brand, I'm going to start a YouTube channel and all that, because I built brands for other people, but now I'm going to do it for myself.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And if you could do it for other people, why not yourself?
That's the whole thing. We made a lot of people a lot of money. So why can't we do it with us, pushing our agenda, pushing, our lifestyle, pushing our principles, our ethics, our discipline.
Absolutely. So tell everybody what you have going on, where they could find you, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. All right, sweet. So you can find me on socials, ali.principles. Don't have a TikTok yet, but we're getting there. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, all that kind of stuff, Ali Haseeb. And what I got going on right now is I'm just taking my skill sets and putting it towards businesses with big impact. No more agency. I want to change the world. I want to not only make $1 billion, I want to impact 1 billion lives. Right now, the current client we're working on is called Lux Capital. Shout out to Gianni, who brought us out to LA. He actually has a nonprofit called Freedom to Families. So again, big on impact. Why we make income? So we can make impact, and just the good energy just circulates like that. But you're gonna see a little bit more of me. I'm gonna be going viral on social media. Shoot a lot of content the last 3 months. YouTube videos showing how I use the law of attraction to create a 7-figure business. Stuff like that. So very applicable strategies, and we just want to change the world.
I love that. Change the world and make an impact when you are able to. I'm all about that philanthropical things in life that you can do to help the community that you are in. Make sure you guys tune into all things that Ali has going on, and that is it for Telli Talks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
See you guys.